1990s, the average size of Americans has shifted upwards as the war on obesity continues to be fought. In the United States, the problem of obesity is ongoing and continually growing among the poverty-stricken population. Few initiatives are being taken to reverse this trend, but the only people who recognize this problem seem to be those that are suffering from obesity. Obesity is defined by the Center for Disease Control as an adult who has a BMI of 30 or higher. The United States is the largest country in terms of size of people, with over 30% of our population considered to be obese. Within the past years, the correlation between obesity and poverty has been studied closely, taking into account the availability of healthy food options in relation to those who live under the poverty line. This speech will introduce the literature as well as the studies that support the relationship between the access to fast food for people in poverty and its link to the ongoing epidemic of obesity. According to the USDA, over half of the 23 million people living in food deserts are falling under the category of low income. The USDA describes a food desert as an urban neighborhood without ready access to healthy and affordable food. Instead, they are served only by fast food restaurants and convenience stores that offer few healthy, affordable options. Because there is no healthy alternative for those living in poverty, frequently the average diet of such individuals is filled with what is easily accessible, namely unhealthy fast foods. In the war on obesity, fast food is the number one contributor. As published by the University of North Carolina, children who rely on fast foods may tend to have parents who do not have the means, desire, or time to purchase or prepare healthy foods at home. With an increasing population living in poverty, it is reasonable to project that the percentage of citizens who are obese will also increase. The table shows current and projected amounts of children living in poverty. Sawhill claims that over the next 10 years, it expected that poverty levels will decrease because the unemployment level is decreasing, providing families with higher levels of income to support themselves. As BMI rises, so does the chance of developing debilitating diseases. Obesity is a low-grade systemic inflammation similar to that found in many chronic diseases. Further published research by Magali states, increased BMI is typically associated with a reduction in forced expiratory volume in 1 second. As the size of the body increases, the ability to fully respirate decreases, leading to increased risk of COPD. Primarily, obesity hypoventilation syndrome is common. Amy Olson defines OHS as a combination of obesity and chronic hyperventilation, ultimately resulting in pulmonary hypertension, cor pulmonale, and probable early mortality. Based on the definition provided by Olson, with obesity increasing, so is the levels of OHS, and OHS leads to premature mortality. On this relationship, it is directly postulated that obesity leads to early death. If the trend continues with obesity, it is likely that the current generation of obese children will live shorter lifespans than that of their parents' generation. A journalist, Belloc, for the New York Times states, the rapid rise in childhood obesity, if left unchecked, could shorten lifespans by as much as 5 years. The associated diseases and complications, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, kidney failure, and cancer, are likely to strike people at younger and younger ages. In over 200 years, there has not been a time that a child lives on average a shorter lifespan than their parents. Of the current population of children, 1 in every 3 is considered to be obese, according to the American Heart Association. Levine, a journalist for Washington Post, states, the rate of obesity has not just doubled as with their parents and grandparents, but has more than tripled. At this rate of growth, not only are the children of this generation in danger, but our entire nation could be put at risk. Low-income youth are exposed to disproportionately more marketing and advertising for obesity-promoting products that encourage the consumption of unhealthful foods, as is stated by the Food Research and Action Center. Among these unhealthy foods, a large contributor is sugary drinks, including, but not limited to, soda and sports drinks. Harvard University conducted research that showed 1 out of every 4 people in the U.S. are consuming 200 kilocalories from sugary drinks. Research published by the American Heart Association states that consumption of sugar-sweetened beverages was associated with increased risk of coronary heart disease. In some cities and states, the government has attempted to levy soda taxes in order to reduce sugary drink intake, as well as increase the revenue provided by the individuals who do choose to continue to drink and consume sugary beverages. Another study produced in The Lancet outright states that consumption of sugar-sweetened drinks is associated with obesity in children. Because corporate companies such as Circle K and Plaid Pantry offer a flat fee for any size drink within their establishment, many people choose to purchase the larger option. By providing the larger sizes for the same price, the corporate companies are knowingly contributing to the increasing number of obese citizens living within the U.S. Further research shows that by the USDA definition, a majority of our poor do not have access to healthier options because they live in a food desert. The government has done nothing to eliminate this travesty aside from allowing the poor to become obese by providing the cheaper but more deadly alternative. Obesity is no longer something that is viewed as abnormal, but instead a terrible reality. The facts show that every day the youth living in poverty are further exposed to the effects of what money cannot buy them, a healthy lifestyle. If food deserts continue to be a commonality among the poor, it is inevitable that the epidemic of obesity will continue. Research and published article reviews show that if the trend continues, the current generation of poverty-stricken obese teenagers will only live a shorter lifespan and have an increased health risk. Obesity is the segue for COPD and diabetes. Fast food chains and convenience stores are actively engaged in the increasing size of Americans. Ta-da!